In this video, I'm just continuing on from our unboxing video on the Coros Vertix 2 S watch that we unboxed, and I've now been wearing it for the last couple of weeks, and it's just to let you know how I've been getting on with it and just sort of a brief introduction onto some of the features on the watch. So the first thing I would say is the big screen has been great. I mentioned in the unboxing I went for this watch because it's a 1.4 inch screen and I am wearing reading glasses, and I like to see the data boxes, watch face, any of the information that you view in the watch just on a bigger screen. Battery life was my other reason. I wanted something with a really good battery for some of the ultra events that I'm hoping to take part in. And on the hikes I've done the last couple of weeks, I did a 16-mile hike playing music the whole way around with the old satellites on. Last week, battery life performed exactly as I would expect. And the quoted figures from Coros, I'm definitely going to achieve and probably go over those figures. So I was really impressed with the battery life. Heart rate monitor, it's got the newer heart rate monitor that we see on the Apex 2 and the Apex 2 Pro, so upgraded from the original Vertix 2. I found heart rate data on my hikes, walks. I have done one cycle ride, were brilliant. I have done a couple of gym sessions, and I know always with a big watch, if you're doing a lot of heavy gym work, you know, we tend to say a chest strap, or like Coros do, a armband, that sort of thing is going to be more accurate. It can depend on how secure you've got the watch on your wrist, because it is a fairly big watch, but I found the nylon strap is really good for adjustment, and I found that better than the silicone strap that you also got in the box. And it's a lighter strap as well, nice and comfortable, dries dead easy. This one, you wouldn't think I'd used it. It's had one wash and it looks absolutely perfect. You do get a quick release 26mm silicone strap in the box as well, and I have discovered that it will work with other similar 26mm quick release straps. I had some old Garmin ones, they fit the watch absolutely fine as long as they're these 26mm quick release. So nice and comfortable to wear with a nylon strap. GPS accuracy on the old satellite systems, which means it picks up GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, Beidou and QZSS has been spot on again. The 16-mile activity I did last week, the hike stroke trail, when I've recorded that a couple of times before on different devices and watches, and the Coros was spot on again with the recording, so I was really happy with the GPS accuracy. I used the watch for navigation. I put a route on the watch. The off-course alerts were really good. The vibrations nice and it's a good vibration on your wrist. You do feel it. You know that you've got an alert on the watch. I found that really worked well. I've mentioned before that the maps are quite simple on the Coros, but I find that easy when you're following a route. I will bring up a route to show you what it looks like. Turn alerts with the Coros aren't quite as polished as other turn alerts that you get on other products, but it's due to the way the app works. When you send a route from the Coros app to the watch, if it can see the trails on the Coros map that you use, which I'll show you in the app shortly, it then adds those turns. But generally, I'm not too worried about turn alerts. I can clearly see the pink line that I'm following with white arrows on the screen. It's more if I go off course. I really like the way it does the off course alerts and tells you went off course. They worked every time. On purpose, when I was doing this walk, I made a couple of wrong turns where I knew where I should have went just to test how they worked, and they were spot on. And the screen was so clear to see. On the 16-mile hike I did, it was bright sunshine in the morning, really nice with the sun shining on the screen, dead easy to see, brought it to life. When it was the afternoon, I actually had grey skies and rain, and the screen was still spot on with that natural light outside. Inside, of course, it is a little bit of a duller screen than an AMOLED screen, but this is where we're getting the great battery. But you can see here with this nice big watch face I've got selected, it's still nice and easy to see, and we have a massive choice of watch faces that you can put on the watch. So I've been really happy with how it's performed the last couple of weeks. So I'll just show you what some of the screens look like to give you an idea. So I'm just going to unlock it with the scroll wheel. We do have touchscreen on the watch, but I've actually disabled the touchscreen. I've got it enabled when I'm doing an activity to swipe up on data boxes, but you can have touchscreen enabled as well. It's personal choice. And when you scroll up and down the boxes, you can see they're nice and big, the glances to look at. So I've got things to do with training load. I haven't done any training this week. I've got my running fitness, got like race predictor, so it's got information about how it predicts I'm going to do 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. And marathons, I'm actually going to use the watch on a marathon coming up very soon, so that'll be nice to see how it performs on the marathon. your information, sorry, about your steps and your calories burned. So it's all information that you can look at. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit further. Fully recovered, heart rate data, and then I can use the scroll wheel to go back at the different times today to see what my heart rate reading was. I've actually got the watch set to record all of the time. Generally, when you get a Coros watch, the default setting when you're not doing an activity to help with battery is record every 10 seconds, but live when you're doing an activity. With the battery being so good, I've actually just changed the setting in this one to record all of the time, apart from when I had it off my wrist there, which I've got it off at the moment. It's got information about sleep, so you can look at sleep data. Again, nice and easy to see, nice clear screens. We've got altimeter height, got time to sunset and sunrise. We've got a barometric, so I mentioned altimeter, we've got height data, this is air pressure, so we've got air pressure from the barometric altimeter, stress levels. It's got HRV readings from the night time. All of this information can be viewed on the app as well. Weather data, that does come from the phone. The only thing with the weather data at the minute, I've got the watch set as miles and feet. So the weather data is in Fahrenheit. If I set it as metric, I'll get the weather data and centigrade, but I prefer miles and feet for my distance. Coros are hopefully working on this. They are aware that a lot of people would like to see centigrade and miles and feet. So hopefully that change will be coming soon. And then if you got any notifications from your phone, it could be a text message. This was a clock alert from my phone. It doesn't actually ring the alarm from my phone on the watch. It was just telling me an alarm was coming up. You can set alarms. It does actually have an alarm setting on the Coros where you can set stopwatches, timers and alarms. But if someone was to text you, you get an email alert. You can set all these alerts up from your phone. They would appear on this screen. So that just gives you an idea of some of the glances you can see. This is my watch face that I've got set up. They've got loads of choices of watch faces. When we go into the settings, you can store a number of watch faces on your watch, but there's a massive choice actually on the app. So if I go into watch faces, yes, these are some of the ones that I've added from the app. So you can put a selection on the watch itself, but then you can have a load more that you can download and change from the actual app itself. So I just went for a nice big digital one, but we have analog faces, animated faces with a moon and sun and earth and things like that. So I'm just going to hit back to come out of there. So lots of different watch faces. Heart rate, I think I mentioned it's got the new heart rate monitor, so I found the heart rate accuracy pretty good on my hikes and walks. Watch itself, I mentioned it's a nice tough watch. I've only had it a couple of weeks, so I'm not expecting any marks on it, but it's still looking like it was when it come out the box, which I suppose you would expect after a couple of weeks, but it has got the sapphire screen, which is a really tough screen. So I'm just going to go into an activity now as if I was doing an activity. So I'll select my trail run. I'm going to go down to navigation. It's so easy to pick a route to navigate with. So I've got some routes that I've actually sent to the watch here. I think the only one I've got actually, it's the one that starts and finishes right outside the door here. So I have a feeling when I load it, it'll think I'm finished it because I'm virtually at the end point. But I'll load it anyway just to give you an idea. I can look at elevation details of the route that I'm about to load. I can say that I want to do it in the reverse direction if I decided to do it in reverse. I could say reverse direction and I can set it so it tells me if I go off course. You can turn that off if you don't want to get off course alerts. The turn-by-turn alerts, it is based on the app, on the Coros app, and how you put that GPX file in and whether the paths are actually shown on the Coros app. If the paths aren't shown, it still sends the GPX file that you've maybe downloaded or created elsewhere really easily to the watch, but you might not have all the turn alerts. But generally, what I want to see is an alert to do that with going off course, and that works really well. So I'm going to just start this one now. So start route. It's telling me to wait until I've got a satellite signal, but I'm just going to start it just so you can see what it looks like on the screen. So I can use the scroll wheel to go to the elevation graph. You can actually zoom in and out on the graph, and as you're coming up to a hill, you'll see that there's a bigger elevation graph on the screen, but you can zoom out and zoom in on it. You can actually scroll across using the touch screen as well. I just hit the back button there. So I've set my data boxes for the distance and total time. Now, when I first set these, I normally set the very bottom box to have the same information, but I had it set with a black background at the bottom, and I wasn't able to see that clearly. So I'd actually set the total time that I've done as one of the main boxes, and I didn't bother changing the bottom one, so they've actually got the same information. But I've now realised that with the white background I can actually see that clearly, so I'll probably change one of these other boxes to something different, and then on every screen I'll just have the total activity time at the bottom with a white background. So when you do the white background at the bottom, you then have to have the black background at the top and vice versa, but I found that's nice and clear to see. I've set up speed and average speed. This is the signal on the watch is just telling me it's locking on to satellite, so I've got speed and average speed. It's picking up data because with the satellite drift and me being inside and it not locking onto satellites, it's thinking I'm moving. It's just buzzed on my wrist to say I'm off course, which is really good. So of course I'm off course because it's outside. So when you go off course, you do get the map screen appear with the alert to tell you went off course, and you can see where you need to go. So I've got my heart rate, it's just reading that from my hand on the back. Time of day and battery I've set, and distance to destination would appear here when I'm outside with a GPS signal, and the ascent data to the destination. So that only appears when you're navigating a route, distance to destination and ascent to destination. So once I get outside and I get on this route, we'll have some information in there. And if I just show you the map now, I'm just going to unlock the screen, and I can actually zoom in on the map. And then I think I've disabled, no, I've got the touchscreen on. I thought I'd disabled the touchscreen. So you can have touchscreen on the map and move around to see what's coming up. And you get those arrows on the screen to show you the direction of travel. And then when you get the turns, you see these arrows just, you can see which way around you're basically going on the route. And that is the nice clear pink line. Now, even though the map is quite a simple map, it's not as detailed as some of the other maps we see, and certainly not as detailed as an Ordnance Survey map. But actually, when you're following the pink line, it's nice and easy to see, and that's what I like. I like to see the route line nice and clear. If you have too detailed a map, I always find it's not that easy to see what you need to do. So sometimes it's better having that lesser detailed map. And then I'm just going to, so it's the scroll wheel I'm using to zoom in and out. I'll just hit the back button there, and then I can scroll back down, look at the elevation graph and all of the information. And then what's a nice feature, if you're doing a big event and you're about to go into a checkpoint to rest, when you actually unlock it and then stop it, you have an option called, just going to go down resume later. So if I go resume later, it then goes back to the watch face to save battery. It's now not recording. I could have a rest in a checkpoint, and then when I come back out, it could be an hour or two later, if it's a big checkpoint and a big event, I can go back into the activity screen and just resume the recording. And then the timer though, the total time, still shows you your total time for that event. So that is really nice that you can do the resume later. And then when you're finished an activity, it's nice and easy just to stop and finish. And then it saves the activity on the watch. You can't actually view information about what you've just done, but it actually syncs with the app, which you would expect when you've got the app paired with Bluetooth, and you can read all of that data. The only other thing I've been using the watch for is, if I go down past where we got alarms, you can set timers, stopwatch. It actually shows you your satellite signal when you're locked on and all the satellites, and a grid reference. But I'm just going to go down to, we've got an option, oximeter, so we can measure our SpO2 levels, oxygen levels, time naps, find phone, it's got find phone, and the one I want to go to is, should have here music. I have put music on the watch, but to put music on the watch, it is MP3 files, so they do have to come through a computer and a USB cable, and you have to have MP3 files. So these are from CDs I've loaded on a computer. I know not everyone has the function to do that. We don't have the option of things like Amazon and Deezer and linking to online services. So just bear in mind, if you do want to listen to music, works really well when it's paired with a set of Bluetooth headphones, but you do have to use MP3 files. I don't know if that's going to change in the future. I know a lot of people have been saying to Coros, anyway, you can add third-party music without using a cable and MP3, but it works well for me. I've got MP3 files, so I've been listening to music. So it's just to give you a brief overview of the watch and what I've been doing with it. So I've been really happy with it, and we'll just show you a little view of the app. Now remember, all of these information we're showing you, if you do buy a Coros watch from us, you get loads of training videos that go into a lot more detail on and using all the functions on the watch. I haven't even mentioned navigation. You can actually do a track back to the start and follow your recorded line back to the start. It's got a compass, I mentioned, it's got the altimeter. So there's loads more videos on the online training course that you get for a year for free if you buy a watch from us. So this is the app I've got open here. So on the actual app itself, I can go in and change things like the watch faces, so I can sync loads of different faces across. Now, I haven't got a very strong Wi-Fi signal on my phone at the minute, so I'm just going to see if they're actually going to load. I should have actually connected to a different Wi-Fi in the building here. Our Wi-Fi isn't the strongest, so I will come back to that. I'm just going to look at activities. So these are activity recordings that I've done. So any activities that you do, you can look back at the recordings. You can scroll up and see loads of information about your pace, your effort, your best mile. You get all the different graphs with your heart rate, zones, cadence, stride length. I've got elevation graph. Breaks down all your miles, what you did on all your different miles. So that's an activity that I did in the week. So I'm just going to go back onto that one. What's nice as well, it's nice and easy to actually change it to a route, and then it saves it as a route in the app, and then you can send that recorded activity back to the watch to navigate as a route, or you can export it as a GPX file to then email to friends and family. So that's nice and easy. The map here, you can actually change. We have options of different types of map. You can change it to a satellite map to look back at what you've actually done on a satellite map, and then we can zoom in and actually move around and look at your recording. So any information about what you've recorded, I'm just going to scroll down here. I've got a gym session there, so I can actually look at gym sessions. This was a HIIT class that I did, so it'll just give me some basic information here on the heart rate, calories, training load, what heart rate zones I was in, and the training effort for aerobic and anaerobic and how long I trained for. So it's recording all that sort of data. Just going to go back to the progress screen. So on the progress screen, this is where we can look at information about our steps. So we can bring up step information, calories, activity time. We can look at our training status, recovery times. Running fitness was something that we could actually see on the watch as well. So loads of information that you can look back on: heart rate data, resting heart rate, stress. You can look in more detail at your sleep. You can go back for the week, the month, the year. So all that data's saved on the app. The overnight HRV. So it's just giving you some information about what that's about. So lots of information on the app. If I go to the explore part of the app, this is where you can import routes in. These are loads of routes that I've already got. So if I look at one of the routes here, just bring it up on the screen. There's a route there, and on the elevation graph I can move and see the little red dot moving around. This is what I was on about the turn arrows. If it can see the trails on the Coros map, so I'm just going to zoom in here, it will put little turn arrows on. But if it can't see the trail, this is a GPX file I've imported from elsewhere. If it can't see the actual trail on the map, you don't necessarily get the turn alerts, but the off-course alerts work really well. And it's so easy to, once you've got a route in the Coros app, you just tell your phone to open the GPX file with the Coros app, and then when you've got the route there, you can just tap on the route, and it's literally got at the bottom here, sync with watch. You say sync with watch, and you get a little percentage bar telling you that it's going across to the watch. It tells me that it's transferring, and then that transfers across to the watch. So that's it done now, and that's now on the watch to navigate with. So it's so quick and easy. So really just a nice simple app to use with loads of information. Again, look back at all your historic activities you can go down and look at. I was just going to go back to those watch faces. I think it's just because I didn't have a very good Wi-Fi signal on here. I'm just going to see if I can bring up the watch faces. But there is a massive choice. Here we go, we're coming up. It's just the phone's got a weak Wi-Fi signal, so there's so many choices of watch faces. Sorry, I just swiped off there a second. Just go back on. So we can do it by digital, analog, events, animated, all sorts of weird and wonderful ones. But digital ones, I really like the digital ones, and there's loads of choice. You could just go on and scroll down. And again, some of these is just with the speed of my internet, they're not loading quickly. But once you've got the ones you want, you can pick them and then you add them into my watch faces, and you can have up to 10 watch faces on your device. Again, apologies, this is just with a Wi-Fi signal on my phone. They're loading now, and then they're all the different ones that I've actually put onto my watch. So I hope this little overview, just letting you know how I've been getting on with the watch, is just helping you. Loads of specs on the watch when you look on the specs pages on the product page that you're watching this video, if you're watching the video on the product page. If not, if you go to gpstraining.co.uk and under the GPS store and GPS watches, there's a little filter at the top. You can put Coros, and then if you pick the Vertix 2S, we've got all the specs and information about the watch. And if we add more videos, you'll find those videos added in the video section. So we hope you found this video useful, and thanks for watching.